All right, and welcome to the BettingPros Podcast. My name is Seth Woolcock. Today, we are breaking down the 2024 Euros and Copa America soccer tournament from a betting perspective. And I'm joined by a stallion of a gentleman who's going to be taking us through his betting card today. He's the host of the Swoolcast, the Takecast, and a member of Sports Grid. He also has a great head of lettuce if you're watching over here on YouTube. Davis Mattek. Davis, how we doing today, man, as a busy time in the soccer world begins?
You know, we're doing great. Very much excited for a summer of soccer. You wake up, the European Championship games are going, get ready, have some dinner, and the Copa America games are on. Copa America being played in the United States, so maybe a chance to go to some of these games here if you were interested.
I appreciate you taking the time out of your day to join us to break down these tournaments. And before we get into it, just put into perspective, like for soccer fans, footies, if you would, where does the Euros, where does the Copa America rank? Obviously, it's not the World Cup, it's not the Olympics, but it does happen every 4 years, and it's a very important part of the soccer realm.
The European Championships is pretty high up there. I would say it's, the third most prestigious tournament in the world that gets played. I would say World Cup number 1, Champions League number 2, and the European Championship. For example, the English women winning the European Championships 2 summers ago, like that was like a huge kind of moment. The European Championships, it's pretty much all the greatest teams in the world without Argentina and Brazil there. So the competition level is very high. The Copa America really would depend on the U.S. Here in the States, we're actually going to have a higher opinion of it than they would have. Like for example, in England, they're probably not watching that much Copa America, I would guess.
Okay. Awesome. Well, I'm happy to be breaking it down with you today. Before we jump in, though, I do want to remind everyone watching, please subscribe to the Betting Pros YouTube channel and comment below on this video, because when you do, you could win a free upgrade to Betting Pros premium content. So whether you're looking to access top picks, top player props, custom analysis, whatever it is, the Betting Pros premium has the tools that can help you win more bets, plain and simple. So make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Make sure you're supporting all the wonderful people over here at BP. And all right, let's break it down. Let's start with the Euros and the predictions for this tournament, Davis. It's a 24-team, 6-group tournament of 4 teams. They're going to battle it out in those groups. They're going to get to a round of 16, and then it'll be a single elimination from there. This year's event is hosted in the motherland, Germany, defending champion Italy. They're going to be back in it as well. And matches are going to be starting this Friday, June 14th, and it'll run for about a month. July 14th is when we'll kind of end this thing. So starting there, obviously, Germany is kind of the powerhouse. I don't want to say they're the number 1 seed of this tournament, but minus 280, heavy favorite to win their group, Group A. Yet they didn't advance out of the stage group in the World Cup. Do Switzerland, Hungary, Scotland, any of those teams have a chance, Davis, or is this really a who's who of soccer and Germany gets through that Group A?
Germany will almost assuredly get through the group because kind of everyone gets through the group. So the top 2 seeds from every group advance, but then there are a few groups, the way the standings shake out, where the 3rd seed gets through. It's done on goal difference. So Albania and Georgia and Slovenia and Slovakia, most of these teams will not get through, but your Croatias, your Denmarks, these teams are going to find a way through. To be honest, Germany is not in a great run of form. So Julian Nagelsmann is their manager right now. They are sort of chopping and changing their lineup. Some guys who have been, big stalwarts of the team, Mats Hummels, Leon Goretzka, are not even with the team here. And they sort of have the issue that a lot of these top European teams have, where the team's great center backs, great midfielders, true lions of the game, and they don't really have a forward. They don't really have a goal scorer. Where do the goals come from? Nicholas Füllkrug is probably going to start. Him or Kai Havertz is going to start as the striker, neither of which are great finishers at the international level.
So are you willing to lay any coin down on Switzerland, Hungary, Scotland to maybe win this group, or is it still Germany, you think? Obviously, it's kind of an unbettable number there at minus 280, but any value with any of these other teams? Any flyers you're taking, or do you think Germany does get it done?
No, I don't hate I don't hate Scotland to advance out of the group.
Ooh,
I actually think they are they're sort of in a good run of form right now. They don't really have a striker, but they do have probably the best midfield Scotland has ever had. I mean, look, I've been watching soccer for 100 years, but they have a very strong midfield. That's really, I would say that's the hack when you're looking at
Okay.
international tournaments is teams who have like 3 really good top level, blue chip midfielders. It's just a lot easier to hold on to the ball and to stay calm when that is true. And that is true of Scotland.
Okay. They're at 12-1 right now, so potentially interesting. Maybe not to win the group, but potentially to advance out of that group. Davis likes them. Let's look at Groups B and C together here, Davis, because this is another one. We have some favorites coming in here. England in Group C. They're led by Harry Kane. Guy feels like he just doesn't age. He's timeless out there. And then also in Group B, then we have Spain, who they come in at the favorite -110, so a bettable favorite. Italy, though, +175. They're trying to defend their title, and also have Croatia in this group. They got a couple X factors on that side of the ball as well. So your thoughts on Group B and C? Is it chalk? Are you riding with the heavy favorites, or do you see some value down the board here?
No, I think these are all the favorites get through here. I mean, maybe a smidgen of value on Croatia,
Sure.
but again, a team with absolutely no forwards to speak of. I believe the guy who's going to be starting at them at striker actually just plays in the Croatian league. I believe it's Bruno Pekovic, who is just not a top level finisher.
Mm-hmm.
Spain, they're going to be starting a bunch of teenagers, so I suppose we'll see how that goes for them. And their
Sure.
people are sort of undecided on their manager because he is a product of their youth system. He's just been promoted inside of the Spain Football Federation. Out on Italy as well. Gianluca Spalletti is their manager. He's only been in charge for about 6 months. He came in halfway through qualifying. To me, really, the Euros are sort of a 2-team tournament between England and France, really. I would be legitimately surprised to see Germany, Portugal, Spain, Belgium, Netherlands, any of these teams really. Now England could definitely lose in a hilarious way in like the quarterfinal to Poland or something, but that to me would just open it up for France.
Okay, let's talk about France. They're in Group D, -180. It seems like I don't know if that's something we can bet straight up still with so much juice, but maybe that's something we can parlay them to win that group. We know they have just X factors all over the place, arguably the top player in the world in Mbappe. And also, they're the team that they have the experience. They've been to the World Cup finals. They didn't get it done, but they have that heartbreak that maybe almost molds them and makes them stronger as a unit. The Netherlands kind of dangerous in that group, but it seems like pretty case closed, -180 France. Is that something you'd be interested in maybe parlaying or doing something to be in on the action there in France?
I think that is a bettable number. I mean, honestly,
Okay.
that you probably would rather just bet them to win the tournament outright. I mean,
Okay.
I think both wagers are fine. Like to the degree to which France is better than every other team in England, it's just sort of insane. Like they've got the best forward in the world. They've got an unbelievable midfield. Just they have a bunch of guys who are in their prime, prime age. So they have guys who are a little bit post prime. They have Antoine Griezmann, who plays in this sort of withdrawn attacking midfielder, kind of a free 8 style role with the national team that he doesn't do with his club team, and he's like the best in the world at it. They are just so unbelievably more talented than everyone else.
Okay, rounding out the groups here in the Euro, Belgium, they're the favorite at -170 in Group E. Also kind of always a threat, I think, on the world stage, but kind of a letdown here in the World Cup. Didn't even get out of the group stage there. And then Portugal in Group F, they're -210 right now. Obviously, we know Ronaldo's going to be playing, but he's 39, Davis. He's 39 now. He's been playing in the Saudi Pro League. Are these locks, as much of the odds make them look to be, to come out of these groups as the winners, Portugal and Belgium?
No, I don't think so. I think you could sort of reasonably bet the Turkey or the Czech Republic in Group F. And I actually think the Ukraine is maybe a smidge underrated here. Like they have they're kind of the opposite of Belgium, where Belgium is sort of the old guys who've been there forever. You've got all these guys playing who are on their very last legs. Like is Jan Vertonghen going to be a starting center back at like 39 or whatever, where Ukraine is the exact opposite. All their best players are 21, 22, 23, 24. And that is like a better spot to be in an international tournament. But actually, I will say this: Belgium should definitely not be -170 to win that group. So take your pick out of the Ukraine, Romania, or Slovakia. Those are all good numbers, I think.
Okay, pivoting away from the group stage, let's look at some of these other markets here. There's to reach the final. It seems like you like France, plus 190. That's kind of an appealing number. I feel like obviously they have to get there, but any love for France at plus 190? We got England plus 170. Obviously, you're kind of off Germany. So any love for those teams in this market?
If I was going to take a stance on any of the non-England or France teams, I think it would probably be Spain. I think they just kind of have the DNA, like they have the style of play. It never changes. These guys have been playing in the same system for the Spain youth teams. And kind of one of their biggest question marks is at center back. Is Aymeric Laporte going to start after playing in the Saudi Pro League? And they actually have replacements for him now. So I don't think it's that big of a concern. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of boring to say, but I don't expect a ton of drama in especially in the quarter and semifinals here.
So speaking of the finals, speaking about England or France, do you find value in taking them to win it all here? There's also some of those golden boot parlays out there where you can pick the winner of the tournament and then also potentially who could win that golden boot award. So do you find any value in any of those markets?
I mean, I think France, if you can find a 4-1 out there, I think that is probably pretty reasonable.
Okay.
I also, for that tournament, I like Phil Foden to be the top goal scorer. That would obviously be, I think that's maybe a more profitable way to wager on England doing very well in this tournament. Now, obviously, Harry Kane is going to take the penalties. But I think, look, Phil Foden won Player of the Year in the English Premier League. I think there is some good evidence to suggest that that he might be able to get there via pure open play. 5 goals probably does it, particularly if Mbappe doesn't match him. And I really like this one, Antoine Griezmann to lead the tournament in assists. As I mentioned, he does play in that more withdrawn role. In the most recent season for Atletico Madrid, he was 99th percentile in passes attempted, 95th percentile in progressive passes for his team. And he doesn't do this with his club team, but for the national team, he takes corners. So that's going to give him 2 or 3 extra assist chances over the course of the tournament.
Perfect. Well, I appreciate you breaking down the European side of this tournament. Let's now shift over to the Copa America. But before we do, I want to remind everyone, make sure you guys are downloading the BettingPros app, sync your sportsbook, track your progress. And you can also see what other experts and enthusiasts are putting some of their coin down on. And we had a big week over on the NASCAR side of things, hit a couple outrights there, very profitable weekend. We had all those bets live on the BettingPros app. So make sure you guys are getting over there, getting down with the BettingPros app. You can find it on all the app stores, whether that's Google Play or whether that's Apple as well. And let's go ahead. Let's look at Copa America here. This translates to America Cup. It's returning to the 16-team, 4 groups of 4 format with the top 8 advancing to the knockout round here. It's going to be hosted in the U.S. across 14 stadiums. So maybe if you're around the summer, you don't have a ton of plans, look at maybe potentially seeing some international soccer playing out here in the States. Games will begin on June 20th. They'll run through July 14th. So going to end right around the same time as the Euros does. Let's break down the group starting with that, Davis. Group A, defending World Cup champion Argentina is led by Messi. They're minus 300. We don't see Messi play the most competitive club soccer anymore, but he has taken Inter Miami to the top of the MLS standings. They're up against Chile, Peru, Canada. How do we feel about Argentina? Are they the class of the field? Obviously, minus 300 makes them feel like they're walking out of this stage, no sweat under their breath.
Yeah, I mean, look, they are the best team in the tournament. I think they probably have a good argument to be even considered better than Brazil, which is kind of crazy because Brazil has historically been a little bit better, but Brazil is a little bit, they have a combination of a little bit less experience and a little bit too long in the teeth at a couple positions. I would say they definitely are a little bit weaker in defense, which has normally not been the case, but the projected starting 11 for Argentina features, pretty much all players who play at the highest level in European soccer. Really, at this stage, Messi is kind of the only one who does not play at the highest level of European soccer. Whereas, in the past, we've seen Messi playing with like a whole defensive line, a whole back four of guys who play in like the Argentinian league. You've got a Paraguayan league center back in there anymore.
Okay.
And that is not really the case. Alexis McAllister, I think, showed in the World Cup, like, he is just such a perfect complement to Messi's style, because Messi just kind of doesn't move. He kind of just stays where he moves when he needs to, whereas McAllister is all over the place. I think Argentina and Brazil, I mean, let's say this was a World Cup summer, I think, they would actually, to me, probably even be better than France and England.
Okay. Well, glad to hear that. And you did mention Brazil. They're in Group D, another heavy favorite. No Neymar for the back-to-back Olympic champions here, Davis, but also still seem like a clear favorite in this Group D. We do have Colombia in that group, Luis Diaz out of Liverpool with them. So they're always a little bit of a threat, it seems like. Would you somehow be trying to bet Brazil minus 220, or what would be the lowest odds you would get invested over there with them to win Group D?
I probably, for the group stuff, the only thing I would do would maybe to choose a dog for fun, just to have something to sweat. Like, I think the way the groups work in the Copa America is like, look, Argentina is going to get through. Uruguay is for sure going to get through. Sorry for our American listeners, but the U.S. men's team they are a mess. They are a mess right now. And the only reason that on these American-facing sports books that they're priced so high is because they know that they're going to find some action there. Interestingly, in Group D, like, I think Colombia is a pretty strong team, and had Colombia, for example, been in Group C, I think they could have won that group, but they're not going to beat Brazil.
Okay. And you're talking about Team USA. So can you break it down for us? Why are you so, I don't want to say you're fading them, but it seems like you're not talking super highly of them. Obviously, in that group with Uruguay, who has 15 Copa titles to their name, they're led by Darwin Núñez. They seem like a great team. Team USA, like Christian Pulisic, the boys aren't buzzing. What's happening here, Davis? You're letting me down, man.
Yeah, I mean, look, I would love for the United States to be a soccering nation, and for all these guys to be great, and for all of them to be starters for Champions League's team. So there's a couple things going on. The first being, I mean, we do have a lineup of guys who all play in Europe for one of the first times ever. I believe it was the game against the Netherlands. It was the first time we'd ever had a starting 11 of guys who were all playing non-domestically, who were all playing in Europe. Now, the issue is, these are not starters for Real Madrid. These are not starters for Barcelona. These are not starters for Spurs. It's starters for Stuttgart and AC Milan and Fulham. So it's like, they're all good players, but they're not great players. The other issue is Greg Berhalter is not a particularly good manager. And another issue is that we don't really have a right back on the team. And so that kind of just leads them to play sort of lopsided. I think Chris Richards might start because Dest is injured right now. And that just, I don't know. And also, we have no finishing. Like, there's no finisher. Like Balogun, Tim Weah, these guys are good players. But it's like, you don't have Olivier Giroud, you don't have Cristiano Ronaldo, you don't have Leon. Where do the goals come from for these guys?
Okay, so no action for you on Team USA is kind of what I'm hearing there. Just not the right time, not the right place, I think, for Team USA.
Yeah, and look, I mean, I would love to be wrong, because again, I've always loved, like, when they got that 0-0 draw with Wales, and they got the result they needed against Iran in the World Cup to advance. I mean, that's an awesome 3 days, and everyone's locked in, everyone's excited for the Netherlands match. Like, that's fun. I would love to be wrong. I think that the issues are systemic with U.S. men's national team. Because just the way soccer is structured here as a sport in our country. But my hopes are not that high.
Okay. What about Group B? It's the only one we haven't discussed so far. This is the group that doesn't feel like there's a heavy favorite. Mexico is the favorite, plus 120 on most sports books. Ecuador, though, plus 160. Do you have a lean in Group B? Is there anything that's sticking out to you? Because this one feels like it truly is up for grabs.
Yeah, I actually lean Ecuador here over Mexico. We've kind of got Mexico coming to the end of their run. They kind of struggle with the same where the goals come from thing. Really, I mean, it's just such a common thing with international soccer, because how many truly great strikers are there in the world at any given time? There's like 5 probably. Whereas Ecuador, they are they kind of have a lot of guys who are of the right age. Caicedo really coming into his own. We'll see. Like I think they're pretty strong. And this one, I mean, I could see any kind of upset here. I'm not intimately familiar with Venezuelan football, but my guess would be in a group that is this flat that they could give someone a little bit of trouble.
Okay. And looking at some of the other future markets for the Copa to reach the final, winner, Golden Boot, is there anything you like here? Obviously, not as inflated odds as we're getting for the Euros, but Argentina plus 170 to win it all, Brazil plus 220. Can I interest you in any of that? Does Messi win the Golden Boot 3-1? Or is this a changing of the guard at that as well?
So this one, I'm gonna be writing Colombia. Luis Diaz to be the top goal scorer. You should be able to get that right about. I saw a crazy deep number for this. You can get him like 35, 40 to 1. I think that obviously, I just think he's an incredibly talented player. He is not their primary striker, so that is why he is deep down the odds. Santos Borré is their primary striker. But Diaz had a horrible finishing season for Liverpool, but actually had one of his better seasons in terms of getting to spots where you can get some expected goals. And I think their group should provide some higher scoring games. They might even be in a position where they need goal difference to advance, and then they get a game against Costa Rica. That would be a recipe for a goal. So I like that. And then I also like the odds that you can get on Colombia to advance to the semifinal, because again, outside of Argentina and Brazil, I mean, like I can't draw a big differentiation between Uruguay and Colombia, and also the United States being a little bit juiced up in these odds markets means that you get some better odds on Colombia, Ecuador, and Chile.
Okay. All right. I love to hear that. Are there any other best bets that you can give out for whether it's the Euros, whether it's the Copa that we haven't talked about? Anything that you think bettors out there in the soccer realm should be looking for, and maybe looking at different sports books to find those best odds?
I think that the FanDuel Sportsbook has like pretty fair prices on a lot of this stuff. If you're looking to just get a sweat, that's what I've got pulled up here. I think they all seem good here. A good United States bet, if you wanted to make one, would be for Timothy Weah to be the USA team top goal scorer. I like that. He's been getting some good minutes. But the card that I put together for this program: France to win the Euros, Phil Foden to be the European Championship top goal scorer, Antoine Griezmann top assists, and then for the Copa America, Luis Diaz as the top goal scorer, and Colombia to reach the semifinal.
Okay, all right. Back in Colombia. Love to hear it. Davis, thank you so much for joining us today, bringing your soccer knowledge to the table. How can we best find you, support you, not only throughout these soccer tournaments, but throughout the remainder of 2024 as well, my friend?
You can watch me every single day on SportsGrid TV. If you've got a smart TV, you've got access to that. You can go to sportsgrid.com, or if you search my name on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to podcasts, you can find the TakeCast in the SportsGrid Fantasy Football Podcast, or just follow me on Twitter, and I'll be posting plays and opinions on these games every day.
Perfect. Thank you so much. For me, subscribe to Betting Pros here on YouTube. Make sure you're downloading the BP app. You can check out more of my work at inbetweenmedia.com. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll catch you next time here on the Betting Pros Podcast.